Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I'm postponing our author chat that I was going to film and have ready this week because A, I am under the weather, and B, because a super fun package has arrived. If you are new to this channel, you should know my name is Vanessa and I am an author from Toronto, Canada, and I publish under the pen name A.N. Sage. I write a lot of mystery, fantasy, some in the YA space, some in the adult space, and I'm currently in the midst of a 6-book series that was signed in a paranormal cozy mystery world. What I actually really love to do outside of all of that is to read. And I do a lot of planner videos on this channel, and I have been discussing how I have a very special reading journal that I'm going to be using this year. And the reason it's so special is because, ta-da, I designed it. Now, it took me a while to figure out samples and how I'm going to get this done because I knew I wanted a hardcover. I did not want one of those flimsy paperbacks that sometimes you order on Amazon. And there's nothing wrong with them, but I really wanted a hardcover. I wanted like a beautiful journal, and that's exactly what I have here in front of me. So I thought I would do a quick little flip through of this baby. So this is the 100-year journal, and as you might have known from the name, it is geared to help you read and review 100 books in a year. I usually read around there. It's a little bit more if I count all the graphic novels I read, which I do, but I figured that some other people might need space for 100 books in a year. And the reason that I decided to design this baby is because when I went looking for something like that, most of the journals I found were either just blank note pages that you could just design yourself however you want to, like a bullet journal, which is what I did last year, and that worked great. Or they only had space for about 40 to 60 books because they had a lot of extra pages and different things that you could do. And that's great. But when you're spending such a big amount of money, because some of these were like $60, $70, when you're spending, like after shipping, but when you're spending that much money, I kind of didn't want to have to spend it twice in a year when you're somebody who reads a lot of books like me. And so I figured I would design a no frills, but some frills reading journal. And that's exactly what this is. Now, the interior of this is the same. This is the first rendition of this journal. I will be adding different interiors and like the interior designs. The layout will stay the same probably, but I'll be adding different layouts and covers and all of that. But this is the first rendition of the journal. And if you want to check this out and see what you can order straight from Amazon. And right now it's available on all the different Amazons, I believe, but I'll put the main website for the 100-year journal in the description so you can check it out. But the difference is we've got different colors. So I'm going to be using this color here, which is the dark whimsical, and it's got this nice little spine on it. There's the back of the journal, and it is a hardcover, as I mentioned. But there's also the forest version, and I went back and forth. Actually, let me zoom out a bit. So I feel like, I think that's as zoomed out as we can get right now. But this is the forest version, and I went back and forth between the forest and dark whimsical, but I think the dark whimsical won for me for this year. But I have all the other ones to use if I decide to do them next year. So this is the forest version, and it's kind of like a green cottagecore version. So same design, just different colorway. And then we also have this pastel version. So this is the pastel, and it's very glitter fritter, if you know my Etsy shop. So it's got like all the same kind of pastel colorings. I wonder if I'll zoom in on that. It's kind of blowing out the colors there, but it's got the blues and the yellows and the pinks on the side as well. And the back is kind of like this yellowy color. So those are the 3 colors. I'm going to go through the main one, which is the one I'll be using, but we can kind of tuck these babies off to the side for aesthetic reasons. So this is the 100-year journal, the reading journal. We've got a hardcover, nice spine as I've already shown off, and then the back of the book. And it just said designed for book lovers to pen reviews and record their adventures to 100 more. That's just the back. Then when you open the journal, obviously blank page because of hello binding. We've got this front here, and the front says the reading adventures off, and over here you would basically fill in your name. You do have to train it to lay flat as most hardcovers, and I think now we are safe to zoom in again. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So you do have to train it to lay flat, as I said, because it is a hardcover bound book. And then we've got this deco page here. There's a bit of information on this page here, kind of like how to use the journal, what you can do with it, and a little note to you from me. And then we've got the Adventure Begin cover page. And this is fun. This is a favorites books page. So there's more than 100 books here, but you can, if you read more, that's great. But essentially, you could put in the title, you can color them in however you want it. Look at this little sleepy guy. So that's kind of that page. And I've seen people draw this in their bullet journals. So now you don't have to draw it. You can just have it printed. And then we've got the wish list page, and the wish list says the growing TBR list and upcoming releases. And the book wish list basically is a few tables, enough for over 100 books. And it's got the author, the book title, the genre, and the date. So if you get recommendations or you're thinking of release dates or planning those out, you would put those in your wish list page. So we've got a bunch of those. And then we go into the 100 book challenge. And this is 1 year, 100 books. Are you ready? That's what it says. And then this page, essentially, you start, end date, your total books that you've read, if you've gone under 100 or 100, celebrate, and you would just color them in. It's basically a habit tracker for how many books you read, which is fun. Then we have a reading log, and these are quick reviews for all the books you read. So this is kind of an overview from the big reviews in the back. But after you have reviewed the book, or if you don't want to do a big review, because sometimes there's no time, you could just do a reading log. And the reading log is another table, and it has the year that you fell in, and then you would put the dates, the book title, the author, and the rating that you gave it. And again, enough for 100 books, because it's a 100-year journal. That's what we want to do here. So now this section I'm really excited for. This is called the Book of the Year, and it says fill out your favorite book each month, quarter, 6 month, and the year. And it's kind of a system to help you figure out exactly what your favorite book of the year was. And I wonder if you can see it a bit better, if it's not being blown out by the lighting. But essentially, every month you would fill out your favorite book that you read in one of these boxes, right? And then in every quarter, which kind of tells you where the quarter is divided, you would say, what was out of these three? In quarter one, what was my favorite book of these three? And you would do this for every single quarter. And then you would pick one between quarter one and quarter two, your one book that was favored between these, between quarter three and quarter four, what your favorite book is. And then between 1 and 2, your favorite book of the year. And you can make some notes for yourself down here. So I thought that was a good way, because sometimes when people ask you, hey, what was the best book you read last year? And you start to think about it. And if you're reading 100 books, it's like, I can't tell you. I can tell you my top 57, you know? And so I figured this way, you could narrow it down to your favorite book quite easily. Now we have our reading tracker. So this is says track your reading habits daily for the full year ahead. And the reading tracker is very simple. It is a tracker. There is enough here for the entire year, and then some if you're carrying over some into next year. You put your reading goals up here for every single week, and then you fill in the week and kind of give yourself a note. So I have a map here, the keys, so you leave it blank if you didn't read that day. You read that day, so you do an X, and if you finished a book, you would color it in. And that way you have an overview of how you did for the entire year. And we have plenty of pages, as I mentioned, for the whole year. So now the next one is kind of the big one, and this says this nice little just one more chapter quote, full and detailed reviews for all your books. So the way I have these set up is always on this left side of the page, it's a notes page, it's just lines. They're like these kind of mismatched squiggly kind of lines, so they look pretty cool. But this side is always a note page. So if you want to fill it in with, say, a full detailed review, your thoughts, if you're journaling, you could put a book cover here, which is how I'm planning to use it. I'll just have my book covers right on this side. And then on this side is a kind of a medium-sized review. So you would put in your book title, the author, the page length, if it's fiction or nonfiction, the genre that it's in, your reading status, so the date you started it, the date you finished. You could summarize the book in one sentence, give it a rating right in here. You write down your favorite quote right in there, and then you give a medium-sized review. So options for how many reviews you want to do throughout the whole thing. And there is enough here, you guessed it, 100 books. So now after you finished your 100 books, I put a few more pages in for you. So I wrote the end, or is it? Because I think sometimes you might read more books, so you could start filling out reviews here. So there's also notes pages, quite a bit of them in the back, but you might start filling out more in here. But I'm actually going to be using this section here with just notes to track all my reading of my graphic novels. And that way they will be slightly separate, but in the end, I will count them on my tracker, both in my favorite books, if they were my favorite, but also in my 100 book challenge. So I will count from both my reviews in here and from the graphic novels. And that is the reading journal. So that is the 100-year journal. Let me know what you think of this. If you like them, order up. I really like this one. I tried to make it price-wise as feasible as possible. It is definitely less expensive than a lot of the hardcover type of books out there for reading journals, but it's not the price of a paperback, just because I couldn't price it any lower. I'm not trying to make money off of this, really. I think I'm making 50 cents a book on this. So this is the money-making business for me, but I just thought it was really cool, and I really like the idea of it. Also, I have an Instagram account for it if you want to follow it there, where I do a couple posts a week. And now that I have the copies, when you follow me there, you'll actually see me filling this out every single time. So I'll be posting my pages. If I colored things in, you'll see that there. I'll probably do some reels and stuff. So that's the reading journal. Thanks so much for watching. If you watched till the end, put a book emoji on the bottom and tell me what you thought of this little baby of mine, my new little project. So with that said, to 100 years of reading, you guys, and I hope you stay magical. And I will see you next week when we will do an author chat video. Bye.